betting. Of course, everything that you guys need to cash in on NFL Week 4, college football Week 5. It moves so fast. Here to help you guys out in every way we possibly can across TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. So if you guys have questions, we're here to help. On TikTok, the comments are exclusively for subscribers, but if you go on over to YouTube, we'll answer all of your questions. So whether you want to subscribe on TikTok and get the personalized attention, or you can jump on over to YouTube and we can answer your questions there. Those are a few ways you guys can get your questions answered tonight as we help you guys out with fantasy football for NFL Week 4, also with sports betting for NFL Week 4. We did really well tonight. If I may say so myself, it has been a great night so far when it came to our MLB bets, and hopefully that will continue over the next few days. Just love the trends that we're looking at, the data we're looking at. Really like how we've been playing things of late. If you guys have questions, make sure you fire away with them. We are live every single day. If you're watching on TikTok, you have to subscribe to hit the questions. I promised a subscriber-only show. That way I could pay off that kind of personal attention. So Hunter Edwards 30, you just subscribed. I'm going to answer all of your questions personally. So fire away. Whatever you need help with your fantasy football team, whether it's trades, who to start, who to sit. Obviously, if who you need to pick up off the waiver wire. So fire away with those questions, or you can jump on over to YouTube, one of those two ways. Hunter, fire away with your question when you want. Justin, trade Zay Flowers for Javonte. No, I wouldn't do that, Justin. I'd keep Zay Flowers. For those that subscribe on TikTok, we'll answer your question, help you out with your sports bets or fantasy football teams. So all you have to do is subscribe to comment. Here to help you guys out. Hunter, Madison, don't like him at all. Don't like him at all. So if the question already is 2 out of 3, I don't like him at all. And Hunter Edwards, you want to know a sneaky fun fact? Joshua Kelly is actually better statistically when Austin Eckler is healthy. Some guys just do better when they're not the top dog. As crazy as it sounds, Joshua Kelly's actually a little bit better. That said, I like Godwin a little bit more than I like Madison. So Hunter Edwards 30, thanks so much for subscribing. Madison's the one that I wouldn't like out of that group. Feel free to keep asking your questions. I know, right? Crazy how sometimes, that's why Butt Fumble Sports is about data, trends, analytics. There are a lot of people out here who, if you guys scroll right now, I'm sure there are a lot of people talking fantasy football out there. That's great. I've worked at ESPN, Fox Sports, CBS Sports. I've been a producer. Thanks so much, Retro Dad. Retro Dad always brings the helmet, the night helmet. I always appreciate that. But I've worked in this industry, and I love quantitative analytics. I love looking at data and trends. I have an MBA. It's kind of what I've worked with in private equity as well. So I combined it all and made Butt Fumble Sports a place where I could create sports content, but have it data-based, trend-based. It's enough about debates. Like, I like to do rants like everybody else, but when it comes to sports bets, don't go with your favorite team. Go with the trends. Arctic Tiger, great to see you. Would you be Goff's favorite receiver? Who's going to be Goff's favorite receiver tomorrow? Well, my concern is, obviously, Jair Alexander is a shutdown corner. But I still have to believe in Amon-Ra St. Brown overall, as awful as that is. But I have to believe in how they use him, especially in his crossing patterns, that he's going to be able to get past through some of that traffic. So I still lean in that direction, in part because I think he's going to get a touchdown. Reynolds I like, but you're taking such a drop down in overall targets. That's what's really challenging for me. They could end up with the same receiving yards. So the narrative will be about Reynolds and his contribution, but that'll be St. Brown's floor. St. Brown's ceiling is so much higher than Reynolds. So Arctic Tiger, I'd go Amon-Ra St. Brown. Mendez, you think Jonathan Taylor will get traded? It sounds like it's really going to happen, especially with how well Zach Moss has been performing. That's why if you guys own Zach Moss, do not give him up right now. Do not give him up. Trevor, thank you so much for resubscribing. Great to have you as a part of this team. If you guys want to ask your questions and get this kind of personal fantasy advice, fire away. Pollard, Mixon, Swift, play all three? Great question. Okay, Mixon has a brutal matchup. Mixon has a brutal matchup going up against the Tennessee Titans. One of the best run defenses, not just this year, but last year. I really don't like Mixon this week. Maybe he gets a touchdown and will prove me wrong, but between the 20s, he's going to have a brutal time. So you're not going to get the great production between the rushing yardage. The only way he would bail out you starting him is if he got a touchdown, and I don't like the probability of that anyways. Pollard, I'm worried about him because his offensive line is hurt. I still like Pollard over Mixon. Mixon's definitely the worst of this list. But Pollard, he's kind of like the middle if we're in the Goldilocks. Swift's the one I like the most. Swift is the one I like the most. So the way I'd go with it is Swift would be 1, Pollard 2, Mixon really would just be like a flex. I wouldn't want him at this point starting in this lineup this week. Don't feel great about him. Diego is a beast 22. Burrow or Richardson? Great question. Right now I'm leaning slightly towards Burrow, just slightly, just because I haven't seen Richardson since the injury. I would go Ingram over Kincaid, and I'd lean slightly towards Gibbs over Pickens, but I don't feel great about that one. Jules, Tutu Atwell, a start this week. It depends on who you have. I feel like there are starting to become better wide receivers that are out there. The only reason I really like him is I love the matchup against the Colts. So the answer is in a flex, yes. Probably I like him overall, but he certainly wouldn't be a wide receiver too. If you're in that position, you might be in a rougher shape than you think. George, great to have you as a subscriber. Welcome to this great community of sports fans. We talk sports every day. Thanks so much for subscribing. Would you trade Kyren and Jacoby for Olave? Great question. The answer is no. And there are 2 reasons why. I love Olave's long-term value. However, I think that Kyren Williams has now proven that he is the bell cow of the Rams in ways that we don't typically see. And there's a lot of, there's like meat on the bone for the next few weeks. I wouldn't make that trade right now. I think that would actually be trading what be long-term value, but I think you'd be giving up something. So I think if you're really desperate to upgrade a wide receiver, if you don't think that Jacoby Myers is good enough, I totally understand. But I'd still lean towards holding off on that trade for now. Trevor, I hope you caught my earlier comments, but if not, I'll certainly repeat them. Mixon is a non-play for me this week, so I'd certainly try to avoid him. Here's the challenge. You don't have a lot of great options outside of him, but I'd actually lean towards Roschon Johnson potentially being a good option. Broncos have just been bad, especially in the run defense. They've just been bad. So I'm going to lean towards Roschon Johnson, and I'm also going to lean towards Montgomery. I think he plays. I know he's questionable now, but Roschon Johnson and Montgomery. Colin Morgan, I traded Ken Walker and James Conner last week for Henry. What's up with Henry, man? I think he's going to have a bounce back this week. Hunter Henry, I think he bounces back this week. But you did give up some value. 2 running backs who are starters. So, Arias, I traded Tua, Ramondre, and James Cook for Devontae Adams, Watson, and Bills defense. I have really solid running back room. So do I win this trade? The answer is I'm not sure you do, because you're expecting that Tua's overall performance is going to drop down and Watson's is going to lift up. I'm not sure if I'm quite there yet. I think overall I like getting Devontae Adams, but I don't know. I'm not as crazy about that one. Yeah, Colin, you guys, I love you guys, but when you guys rate like Henry, I'm going to always assume it's Derrick Henry if you're talking about other running backs in the deal. Okay, another question. Mike Evans, Michael Thomas, Brandon Ayuk, Joshua Palmer, pick 2. Okay, got another one for you. Another crazy Chargers fun fact. Joshua Palmer is actually better when he's the 3rd wide receiver. When Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are on the field, he actually has had better stats at times. So he's had Mike Williams, especially, he's been better. So it's kind of interesting. I'm not as high on him as I probably should be. Really high on Brandon Ayuk. And then between Evans and Thomas, I'm going to lean towards Mike Evans just because I trust the quarterback a little bit more. Baker Mayfield versus Jameis Winston. So that's where I come out on it. It's going to be between Evans and it's going to be Ayuk. Those would be the 2. Fresh Prince got offered Chase and Pacheco for St. Brown and Mostert. PPR league, kind of tempted because Mostert scares me long term. So you're getting Chase and Pacheco. If that's the case, I'd make the deal. See, like Colin, like, should I trade Henry, Achane? Like, Henry, again, Not Hunter Henry, Derrick Henry, like... Yeah, should I trade Derrick Henry, Ache, and Amon-Ra St. Brown for DK, Higgins, and Eckler? Yes, I would make that deal. Yes, I would. Toast NJ. Is he trustworthy? No, not yet. But he's a good person to have in a substitute week, in a bye week, or if an injury happens. That's why I feel that way. He's a good player to have. Trading Achen for Olave, what we think. If you're able to upgrade, if you're getting Olave by taking a backup running back, shining him off, and giving him for Olave, I would love that deal, Junior. I love that. That's how we take advantage of some of these other owners. That's a great trade. George, thank you. Of course, that's why we're here. Thank you so much for subscribing, George. Do you think I can get Olave if I give up Jacoby and Montgomery, or should I wait? See, I think David Montgomery has long-term value. I'm not throwing Montgomery away. I've now seen through not just last season but the start of this season, the Lions are committed to using that second power back, not just in the red zone, but between the 20s. I'm not quick to throw him away. I think he's got more value. So, yes, Olave is better than Jacoby, but to give up a running back who's like RB 1.5, that's why I don't think you're getting enough, George, and that's why I'm kind of pushing back on it. Hunter, assuming Richardson is starting this week, start him or Daniel Jones. Start Anthony Richardson. I'm not trusting Daniel Jones in prime time. I know he'll have a better performance than I'm probably thinking, but I'd rather have Richardson right now. Luke Musgrave or Goddard. I'm going to lean towards Luke Musgrave just slightly. I like Goddard getting overall touches, but I don't like Musgrave, or rather I prefer Musgrave getting overall yardage and potentially getting a touchdown. I feel like there's a chance of that in Lambeau. Blurpy, do I do this trade? I give up Garrett Wilson and Watson for Pickens or Ramondre. Yes, I would. Blurpy, yes, I would do that trade. Yep, I like it. Thank you so much, guys, for supporting the show and appreciating Butt Fumble Sports being here every single day. If you guys have questions, fire away. Here to help you guys out. George, we're live every single day. There will not be one day of 2023 that I'm not live. I built this company so we could talk sports with you guys every single day. My background's in sports content, talking sports, producing sports, and I just love fantasy sports, sports betting, and all of it. So if you guys want to meet me every day on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, or Kick, we're live every weekday at 5 p.m., usually. And every weekend, we usually try to get on the air at about 10 Saturdays and Sundays for pregame shows. Then we do these night shows, usually for subscribers, because if you guys are contributing to the network, I want to make sure that we're giving you the kind of personal attention that you deserve. We are also on TikTok, on YouTube right now as well. Trevor, your question? Trevor, I got to go Trevor Lawrence. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence over Jones. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay stacking him and Ridley. Now, normally I'm not as big on stacking as some other people are. There are other fantasy football analysts who are really big on stacking. I'm not as big on it because when you do have that bust game, you are cooked. There is no getting around it. So I actually like the idea sometimes of if you think they're both going to go off, it's worth it. This week I think they're both going to go off, so it's worth it. Zay Jones on waiver. Should I pick him up? It's not a terrible pickup and stash. I actually like the idea of it because he's definitely going to be someone where if Calvin Ridley or if Christian Kirk get hurt, then automatically everyone's going to be saying, go pick up Zay Jones on the waiver wire. I could tell you right now that would be a great anticipatory move, so I like the idea, absolutely. Would you start Saquon coming off of injury over Jacoby Myers? It all depends on Jimmy G's status. If Jimmy G is healthy, then I would go with Jacoby Myers. Otherwise, I'd go Saquon. Colin Morgan, I appreciate you. Blurpy, I appreciate you. Diego is Beast 22. I appreciate you. The player props will come for tomorrow's show. We will be live at 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Still tomorrow because it's still Wednesday where I am. But we will do our player props tomorrow. Hunter, I've got 2 stacks. Madison, Jefferson. Yuck. I hate Madison. I don't know if there's a running back right now in the NFL that I would fade more consistently than Madison. I think Madison, the only way you're really getting points from him is in a passing game. I so don't trust Madison. What is he? He's like Najee Harris. He's a poor man's Najee Harris, and Najee Harris is a poor man's Derrick Henry. That's the kind of that's like trickle down. Derrick Henry is at least strong, and he has breakaway speed. Najee Harris doesn't really have breakaway speed or strength, but he has a bit of it, but not really. And then Madison, what is Madison? Seriously, what is he? Anyways, Love, Goddard and Brown I'm okay with. Goddard and Brown, really, I would trade Madison and Goddard and see if you could upgrade at the running back position. I feel like you could still pick up a tight end right now. Trevor, yep, the night shows for subscribers are definitely a much different pace. Definitely a lot of personal attention. So if you guys are always kind of frustrated by the weekday shows and kind of the frantic pace of the earlier shows, this is always kind of a chilled, relaxed time where you guys can just get the personal attention. Starter sit Myers or Olave. What's really interesting about that, Junior, is both of them have an injured quarterback. So if I had to actually go in either direction, it's probably... I'm going to take Myers, and here's the reason why. I actually think I trust Aiden O'Connell more than I trust Jameis Winston. Aiden O'Connell showed me something in the preseason. Aiden O'Connell might be something. He might be something. And if he gets this opportunity, I think he's going to rip it. And you know what? Josh McDaniels is a sucker for underdog quarterbacks who replace starters. So I'm a big believer in the fact that if Aiden O'Connell gets on the field, he's going up against a secondary that is very vulnerable, a defense that gives up a lot of passing yards. Junior, I lean towards Jacoby Myers because something special might happen. Paul Love, thanks so much for subscribing. Appreciate you. Feel free to fire away with your questions. Here to help you out in any way. Any of the Ravens running backs worth picking up right now? If there are, it's probably Edwards, but even if you are, you're stashing him on the bench right now. I don't think you're really putting him in. E. Curry 2, I've been debating Elijah Moore, Drake London, and Palmer at the flex. I'd probably lean towards Drake London. That's probably where I'd go, E. Curry 2. Elijah Moore is the one that actually kind of has me I kind of want to take it because the Tennessee Titans secondary is so bad against the pass that something does tell me that he could have a good game. But I'm still going to trust Amari Cooper's, going to eat. I'm going to trust Njoku finally has a good game. If you want to go Elijah Moore, I don't hate it, but I'll trust Drake London just a nidge more. It's close, though, E. Curry 2. NCAA question, have you seen Georgia's spread? I haven't looked at Georgia's spread, but here's one thing I will say to you, Diego is Beast 22. I bet on UVA last week to cover. And I don't know a lot about college football. I have our college football analyst. I read some things. I look at trends and data, as you guys see, looking at outlier and other things. But there is a trend behind the fact that Georgia in big spreads doesn't cover. And that Georgia actually isn't as good a covering team as some may think. They're good when it comes to wins and losses and winning championships. They're not a great cover team. So I haven't looked at their spread, but I'll just put that out there. We'll talk about it, obviously, as we get closer to Saturday. Jacob just traded Kamara and Christian Watson for Bijan and London. What do you think? I think you're a little too loaded. If you're the one getting Bijan in London, you're too loaded on the Falcons offense. The Falcons offense right now just doesn't impress me consistently enough. In that case, I'd rather have Kamara and Watson. So you say no to Mixon this week. I have Javonte Williams instead. Colin Morgan, Javonte Williams is the better play. He's facing the more vulnerable defense. I know sometimes we get caught up in the brand names of the running back or the performance last week, but the NFL really is a week-to-week league. I'm a very big believer in the fact that Mixon has a tough matchup. Javonte Williams has a more favorable matchup. I'll go Javonte Williams. Hey, that's why we're here. Thank you so much for subscribing. I haven't wanted to say your name because I've been butchering it. Agauenal 12322. I appreciate you subscribing and asking your questions. This is a much different pace, obviously, for our night shows, helping you guys out. Subscribers can ask their questions, get all the personal attention, just like Paul Love was offered Christian McCaffrey for A.J. Brown and James Conner. I would do that deal. Leaves you with Ridley, Lockett, and Puka. Tank, yeah, I would do that deal, and here's the reason why. Running back is more valuable a position, and especially to be able to upgrade from James Conner, who's a very solid running back, a good RB2, but to be able to jump up and to be able to vault yourself into arguably a top 3 overall fantasy player. Now, I'm going to say the thing that no one wants to say. If he gets hurt, you look back on it and you regret it because you're giving up 2 players for the 1, and I understand that. But Christian McCaffrey, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, I still think Jamar Chase and Austin Eckler, Travis Kelce. This is the short list of players that you take a shot for, and you say I'm willing to offer some moves to try to get them on my team. So Paul Love, I would do that deal because even now I go, okay, Ridley becomes my wide receiver 1, Lockett becomes my wide receiver 2. Puka, Tank, they're really the ones rotating. I think Atwell has less value once Cooper Kupp comes back. But you'll be able to pick up another wide receiver out there who's going to have value moving forward when there's an injury or something else happens. So I actually like the position you're in, upgrading. Paul Love, I'd do that deal. Yeah, you lost Chubb. So you are, Paul Love, you understand the value of a running back 1. I think you're wise enough to know that's a good trade for you because you get back a running back 1. And if the injury bug hits, it hits. That's football. You've got to make the moves expecting there to be health, actually. I don't think you can always be so fearful of injury that you don't take chances to build the best team possible. Lucas Maggio, Mostert and Judy for Eckler and DJ Moore. Oof, it's so close, but I will take Eckler and DJ Moore. I still think there's more value there. Christian Vasquez traded Ford and Waller for Amon-Ra St. Brown. He needs a running back, and he lost Chubb. I think you did a good job. I think you did a really good job. You followed the advice I gave out earlier in previous shows, which is you identified what they needed, you put it together, and you got the player that you wanted. Christian Vasquez, way to listen to our advice. Great job. Really good job, Christian Vasquez. Well played. Doc McLovin, should I start Mostert over Olave or Brandon Ayuk? Ooh, really tough. Olave, I'm leaning away from just Jameis Winston. That's all that needs to be said. Jameis Winston. But that said, Ayuk and Mostert, that's a toss-up for me because I like Ayuk. I like Ayuk this week, but I'm going to lean towards Mostert overall because if nothing else, I think Mike McDaniel has cracked the code on what makes his offense so successful, and it is a balanced approach. And Mostert has shown running, passing, pass blocking. He is actually a really effective running back for that scheme. I really like him, so I think he's going to get plenty of opportunities on the field. I would start him just slightly over Brandon Ayuk. Rob, great to see you as always. I traded Derrick Henry and Kittle for Mixon and Hawkinson. This week won't pay dividends, Rob. This week it's going to be brutal because Mixon's going to have a bad week, and I think Henry and Kittle could both have really good weeks. Overall on the season, I don't know. Hawkinson's better than Kittle. Henry's going to be better than Mixon. I don't know. I would rather have the other guy's assets, if I'm being honest, Rob. But you could talk me into Hawkinson and Mixon. It's close. It's very close, and it's all about it's about the offensive line of the Tennessee Titans, if I'm being honest. And that's what is the question. Are the Titans ever going to become the kind of power running team that they have been in the past? I don't know. Paul Love, P.S. I still have Moss, Jonathan Taylor. Oh, you're in a great spot. Really like where you're at. E. Curry 2, Rachaad White bounce back game against New Orleans or James Cook against Miami. Ooh, interesting question. I'm going to go James Cook. New Orleans, that's a good defense. That's a really good defense. And the Buffalo Bills, I know they're a good defense. Miami, I know they had a good game against the Broncos, but I still think there's opportunity in that running game for James Cook. So E. Curry 2, I'm going to lean towards James Cook. Arctic Tiger, would you play the over trend on kickers over 2 field goals? For which games? For every game? No. I'm not that crazy. Paul Love, so great to have you with us. Thanks so much for subscribing. When you guys subscribe, you can ask your questions, fire away. Rob, got so much running back right now, but start two. I don't like Mixon this week. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube, I'll get back to your questions in one moment. Rob, I would not start Mixon this week. I would start Moss, and I would lean towards... Hold on one second. Yeah, I gotta lean towards Ford. I gotta lean towards... Oh, no. No, that's... It's a toss-up between Ford and Kamara for me, Rob. Moss for sure. I'll lean towards Kamara. Christian Vasquez, still worth starting Gibbs? Yes. Yes, it is, Christian. Darren123, would you do Ayuk and Ford for Jacoby? No. Darren123, if I'm getting Ayuk and Ford, I do the deal. If I'm getting Ayuk and Ford, I would do the deal. Side Eye Muppet, a guy is offering Najee, Khalil Herbert, or Dameon Pierce for Tank Dell. The only player that is worth it is Dameon Pierce, and I would do that actually. Yes, I would do that. I actually think Dameon Pierce has more value, especially when that offensive line gets healthy. Mostert and Ayuk for Kenneth Walker and Keenan Allen. I would rather have... Ooh, it's close. It's a fair deal, Lucas. I don't know which side's better on that one, actually. I think Walker and Allen's better, but it's close. Colin, should I trade Mixon for Kyron Williams? I think it's fair. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I'm kind of caught in between. J Money. Raheem versus Mostert was bad. So Zach Moss and Addison for Debo and Najee. Good. J Money. I would not trade Zach Moss and Addison right now. I think they have a lot of upside. I like Debo Samuel a lot. I don't like Najee at all. So I actually think that you're not getting enough value because I don't like Najee. If you could upgrade from Najee, I would maybe consider it, J Money. Big Bobby Mack. Trade Diggs, Henry, and Metcalf for Kupp, Hall, Judy, Adams, and... I'd rather... Big Bobby Mack. I would rather have Diggs, Henry, and Metcalf. I'd rather have those three players. Getting back to the questions on TikTok, for those who subscribe, appreciate all of those who are with us every single day. Junior, Olave or Amari Cooper? Junior, give me one quick second. I'm struggling with one thing, and I want to look at it. I got to see how the Ravens are in the passing game, and it's bothering me because I can't recall where they are. They're in kind of a weird spot. They're not quite top 10. They're like on the fringes. 2, 4, 6, 8. They're literally 11th. So they're kind of in between. But they have a lot of injuries. Junior, I like Amari more. Now, I would have liked him probably more anyways, but the question was kind of like triggering me to be like, I got to check on the Browns matchup. But that said, Junior, I like Amari Cooper more. I like Amari Cooper more than Olave. Zach, I'd go with Pickens. Over Thielen. I know Thielen's going to be a sexy play this week going up against the Vikings, but I still prefer Pickens. Rob, I'm assuming you're talking about Devon Achane. I think he's worth picking up, and I think you would love to have him on your bench, but I don't think that he's going to necessarily have a great game this week. Mr. Nice Guy, great to have you with us. I would lean towards Pacheco. Mr. Nice Guy, I lean slightly towards Pacheco. I think over Kyron Williams, just barely. It's very close, but I think Pacheco could get in the end zone again this week against the Jets. Kyron Williams is going to get plenty of opportunities, though. It's very close, but I'm going to lean towards Pacheco. E. Curry 2. What's your question about Lamar's? Start Brian Robinson or Achane. Zach, I'd go Brian Robinson out of those two. Even though I don't like the matchup against the Eagles, he's just he's the number one running back. Achane, I don't think he's going to. I think he could be used in the game against the Bills. I don't think he's going to get nearly the opportunities we saw last week. Arctic Tiger, would the safest defensive bet for tomorrow be Kenny Clark for over half a sack, over 0.75 sacks? Ooh. Safest defensive bet tomorrow. Bakhtiari's not playing, right? If Bakhtiari's not playing, I like Hutchinson to get a sack. If I'm going to go with something tomorrow, I might go with Aiden Hutchinson getting a sack. He's a player who likes to step up in big games. Aiden Hutchinson, over half a sack. I'm even writing a note about that to myself. That's a player prop bet that I have my eye on, Arctic Tiger. Junior, especially with car injury, Amari is safe. Yep, Junior knows. Turi, is Kamara worth a trade if I give up Romeo Doubs and a first, or do I need to give up more? I certainly wouldn't give up more. My question is if actually you're giving up too much, because that first long-term value, I mean, Kamara, I hope he isn't. Kamara was not as good last year as people would have hoped, so I think that is the exact amount I probably would give up Curry to. Brent, start 2. I would start, I'd start Aaron Jones, and I think I'd start Gibbs. It's really close for me, but I like those two tomorrow night. Hunter, I'd start Elijah Moore. Hutchinson, plus 150. You can put it on the board. Yes, sir. I like that one. I'm taking that one. When you guys go to look at my bets, you'll find that one. By the way, if you guys want my bets every single day, make sure you DM me on Instagram, Buttfumble Sports on Instagram. I am live every day, obviously on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. But if you want my sports bets every single day, they are on the SHARPZ app. And I can give you a referral code for that through Instagram. So just DM me, Buttfumble Sports on Instagram. Buttfumble Sports on Instagram. Rob, I love you too, buddy. You've been great as a supporter. I really appreciate you, man. Pittman for Jordan Addison. It's tough because I kind of have a thing about Jordan Addison. I kind of called him out of the draft. I thought he was going to be, I thought he was the wrong pick for the Vikings, but I thought he'd pop as a fantasy player. And Pittman, he's just putting up good numbers. It doesn't matter if it's Minshew or Anthony Richardson. He's just balling. He's just playing well, and he's in a division where he's going to continue to get opportunities. So I really like Jordan Addison. I really like Pittman. What I'm kind of saying is I kind of like both, but I think it's a fair trade, Rob. So if you want to move on from one to another, sure, but I don't know if you're really upgrading massively between them. I actually think Pittman might have the higher value long term because he's at least a wide receiver 1. Jordan Addison, Kirk Cousins is never going to be looking at Jordan Addison when Justin Jefferson's on the field in a must-have play. It's just how it is. Pittman, he's going to be that go-to guy. So I think I value Pittman just slightly more. Brent, certainly appreciate the kind words. That's so nice of you to say. Hunter, start Steelers defense or Eagles defense this week? Okay. Really great question. I'm going to go back to where we were. I'm going to show this on Outlier. Because Steelers defense going up against Stroud, I think that's the better option. Look, the Eagles are facing the Commanders, who just pooped their pants. Are they going to poop their pants 2 games in a row? I don't think so. I think they're going to have a much better performance. I think Ron Rivera is going to have them much more physical. I think they're going to run with Brian Robinson. I think they're going to try and play a much cleaner version of football. I've also seen the Eagles defense play well at times, and at other times they can't get gashed. So I'm going to lean a little bit away from the Eagles defense this week, I think, and I might actually go with the Steelers defense. I think the Steelers defense, look, the Eagles are the safer play. But I think the Steelers defense could actually have a surprisingly good game. This is one of those, if you just want to play a conservative, Hunter, go with the Eagles defense. I'm sure in the projections they're ranked higher. I'm sure they're the better play by a lot of people's estimation. But something tells me, just in the back of my mind, Mike Tomlin going up against a rookie quarterback. It's J.J. Watt day. He's going into the Ring of Honor with T.J. Watt in attendance. That defense is playing so much better. I think CJ Stroud is coming off a really good game. We're a little too high on him. I think he's going to make some mistakes. I think that offensive line of the Houston Texans is still banged up. They are going to be able to apply pressure to CJ Stroud. He's going to make the mistakes that he hasn't yet. He has not thrown a pick yet. This dude is, if there was a pick I'm taking, I'm putting another one down. CJ Stroud over half an interception. I'm taking that one right now. I am going on my sports book. I'm taking it. So, Hunter, again, long answer, but if you're trying to play it safe, Eagles defense. If you're willing to take a bit of a chance, I think the Steelers defense could actually pop this week. Chance Parsons, you can kind of hear my answer. I'd go with Fields. Zach, certainly appreciate that. We'll take you up on it tomorrow when we get back to the full show. Junior, smart to have both Etienne and Bijan starting. Oh, sure. They're not playing on the same team. No conflict there. Still believe in Gibbs? Yes, I do, Christian. Tank Dell or Pickens? Mr. Nice Guy, I'm going to go with Pickens. I still trust Pickens more. Drew Hazard, I go Trevor Lawrence. Drew Hazard, I go Trevor Lawrence. King Milo, I'm going to lean towards Swift. Swift would be number one. Brent, question is, Jalen Warren and Brian Robinson for Josh Jacobs, is that a good trade? I don't think so, because I think Brian Robinson has too much value these days. I don't think so, Brent. And Jalen Warren only starts to, he's climbing that running back depth chart. I think Najee Harris might have his job in danger a little bit. Different situations, not entirely, but I think who could be on the field for more high value situations in terms of fantasy ownership? I think it's Jalen Warren. Traded Pierce for Laporta and Algier. I don't have a problem with that. Two valuable players. I like that. Appreciate all those that are with us. Rob, JJ over 120. He's been getting 150 consistently. I know. Justin Jefferson is an absolute beast. He's facing the Carolina Panthers defense, which has actually been really good against the pass. But the answer is, I like the over 120. I like the over 105. Let's actually take a look at that player prop bet. It's one of the reasons we do these night shows, so we can kind of take a look at player prop bets and different things. We're not just getting inundated with a lot of fantasy football questions. So, let's look at his over receiving yards. It's set right now at 99.5. Like, why would I take it at 120 if I could get it at 99.5? By the way, not a great play even there, but I probably would take it at over 99.5. As you said, it's been very consistent so far this year. I think he will get over 100, but it kind of tells you the fact that they put it where it is, Carolina's defense deserves some respect. I actually like him more for a touchdown than I may for over on receiving yards. That said, what's his receptions at? 6.5? Oh, I like that one. Over 6.5 receptions. That's cashed in 8 of the last 10 games. Justin Jefferson, over 6.5 receptions. Like that one as well. Jules traded away Ramondre and Sanders for Kamara and Brian Robinson. That's a fine trade. I think it's pretty fair, though. I think it's a pretty even trade. I don't know necessarily who comes out. Like Brian Robinson or James Conner going forward, I think both are really solid. I probably like Brian Robinson a little bit more, but James Conner just shows you the dude is a dog. He runs downfield. He goes forward when he's tackled. He's just a vicious runner. So I certainly like James Conner. I think he's more RB2 than anything else, but I like both of them pretty consistently. Diego Gonzalez, who is the better Texans receiver to keep? Have both and want to use one as a trade-away piece. I think probably Tank Dell is the better trade-away piece because he's kind of the flashy. I think Tank Dell might have more value maybe, but you know what? You're getting a little bit more maybe from Nico Collins, where I think Tank Dell is kind of the sexy, the name of the week. Drew Hazard, Zay Flowers. Drew Hazard, Zay Flowers. Jacob, 12-man PPR, QB, Kirko. Solid team. Really good. Think it's really good for the week so far. Jacob, I really like it. I think that's a winning team. Miguel, Gibbs or Waddle in my flex this week. I might lean towards Waddle. I actually think I lean towards Waddle. I like Gibbs, but if Montgomery comes back, I definitely think Waddle will have greater value. He's healthy coming off the concussion, so. Side-eye puppet, I'm going to lean towards Kittle. I like Laporta, but I think Kittle's got the better matchup this week. Moss and Ford for Kyren, or am I losing? I think I'd keep Moss and Ford. There's enough value between the two. Chance Parsons. I'm sorry about that. By the way, this is going to be our final minute of the show, everybody. Final minute of the show. We've been live for about 50 minutes so far. Make sure you guys are hitting that follow button. Make sure you subscribe. If you're watching on TikTok, if you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, or Kick, make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you're with us every single day because we're talking fantasy football, sports betting every day. You never want to miss a show, so make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you subscribe. Mr. Nice Guy, trade away Ridley and Madison for CD or for Diggs. Yeah, I'm actually okay with either one. Yeah, I think that's actually a good upgrade, Mr. Nice Guy. Look, Ridley's going to have his weeks, but I think CD Lamb and Diggs are the far more consistent players at this point. Love or Jones? Brian, I really don't like either one. If I had to go with one, I'd probably lean towards Love, but I'm not crazy about it. You think Aaron Jones plays tomorrow? Yes, I do, Miguel. I do think Aaron Jones will play. Mr. Nice Guy, great to have you with us. By the way, Junior, do you like the heart-shaped Deebo Samuel? That's actually one of the designs we have on our shirt. So if you want to go to our website and get one of those shirts, you can check that out right now at buttfumblesports.com. Love that you use that. Definitely use some of those during the shows. Love or Goff this week? I'm going to lean slightly towards Goff, I think. Rob, yeah, you're showing them off. We've got the Chandler Jones, Mac Jones crime right there. We got the butt punt. We got Josh Allen doing his hurdle. We got Deebo Samuel. Thanks so much, Rob. You can find those on our website. Of course, you can find our merchandise as well, buttfumblesports.com. I think Nico will be the alpha. That's right, Diego. That's exactly right. Laporta over Waller. I'm going to lean towards, it's very close. I'm going to lean towards Waller, I think, Splooby. It's close, though, because I think Waller gets a touchdown. Mark Andrews and Madison for Kyren and Goddard. It's not a bad deal. I think Mark Andrews is probably the best player, so I wouldn't necessarily do it. Jules, yeah, don't you love it? The Chandler Jones, Mac Jones crime. Oh, Rob, I love hearing that. I love to know that our advice has been so successful for you. Drew, someone just asked that same question, Waller or Laporta. I might lean towards Waller this week. It's very close for me. If you're in a PPR, maybe it's Laporta, but I mean, I really like Waller this week to find the end zone. Ridley and Madison for Higgins. No. Mr. Nice Guy, Ridley's a better option at wide receiver than Higgins most weeks. Laporta and Tank Dell for Deebo and Addison. I would do that. Splooby, I would do that trade. Appreciate all of you guys joining us every single day on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. It is so wonderful to have you guys with us. I hope you guys have been enjoying the show no matter where you're watching, no matter the account, no matter the platform. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. It is wonderful to be able to talk to you guys every single day. You guys are the absolute best. Hope you guys have been enjoying the show because it's been absolutely wonderful having you. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit the follow button. Make sure you're following Butt Fumble Sports because we are live every single day. We have a show for everybody. Tonight is just for subscribers. The show we just did was only for subscribers. Usually night shows, we try to pay off the value of you guys contributing to the show, and we make it just answering for subscribers. That said, our show at 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow is for everybody. So if you've been watching and just listening, that show at 5 p.m. tomorrow is for everybody. It will be a 3-hour pregame show. 3-hour pregame show taking you up until kickoff of Thursday Night Football. So if you guys want to get in on the show, make sure you hit the follow button. If you want to ask your questions about bets, fantasy football, everything else, if you guys are in underdog leagues and you do those kinds of contests, we'll be doing a lot of that stuff from now on. One of our fantasy sponsors, Rival Fantasy, has actually got a number of games that we're going to play. So make sure that you guys hit us up. Butt Fumble Sports on Instagram, Butt Fumble Sports on TikTok, Butt Fumble Sports on YouTube, Twitch, and Kick. make sure you hit that follow button right now. That way you can join us at 5 p.m. Eastern, everybody. 5 p.m. Eastern is when we're going to have our next show. I hope you guys have really enjoyed the content tonight and the conversation. It is always wonderful to be able to talk to you guys. I enjoy it every single time. I hope you guys stay healthy. I hope you stay safe. And I hope you are with us at 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, everybody. If you're following, you'll never miss the show. You'll always catch our content. You'll always know when we're live. So make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you subscribe. 5 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow is our next show. As thank God, Thursday night football and a good matchup at that. Make sure you're with us. Make sure you're joining us. Make sure you're with us at 5 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Can't wait to see you guys. We'll talk again tomorrow at 5 p.m. Goodbye, everybody. Have a great night.